What happens when the biggest names in wrestling aren't just fighting in the ring, but battling demons behind the curtain? What happens when the locker room becomes more dangerous than the squared circle itself? Right now, at this very moment, WWE is sitting on a powder keg that could explode at any second, and what I'm about to reveal to you will shake everything you thought you knew about the business we love. This isn't just another wrestling news breakdown. This is about secrets, power plays, and a culture that's been hiding in plain sight for decades. Stay with me until the end of this video, because what's been exposed will make you question everything. Before we dive into the chaos unfolding right now, I need you to do something for me. If you've ever felt like an outsider, if you've ever been pushed around or made to feel like you don't belong, then what I'm about to share is going to hit different. This community, this family we're building here at SLAMZONE, it's a place where your voice matters. So hit that subscribe button right now, not just for me, but for yourself. Because when we stand together, when we refuse to stay silent, that's when real change happens. Smash that notification bell, because the stories we're covering aren't just entertainment, they're the truth that needs to be heard. The wrestling world woke up to a nightmare this week. Reports have surfaced, whispers that have been echoing through the halls of WWE for years, finally breaking through the silence. We're talking about bullying. Real, systematic, soul-crushing bullying that's been allowed to fester in the locker rooms of the biggest wrestling company on the planet. And the names being mentioned? They're not just mid-carders or nobodies trying to make a name. We're talking about established veterans, people with power, people who've used that power to make others feel worthless. You can feel the tension right now across the entire industry. Wrestlers past and present are starting to speak up, breaking the code of silence that's protected the guilty for far too long. Think about that for a second. Imagine walking into work every single day, knowing that someone with more influence, more connections, more pull with management is going to make your life miserable. Imagine having your dream, the thing you've sacrificed everything for, turned into a daily nightmare because someone decided you were an easy target. The backstage concern inside WWE headquarters is massive right now. We're not talking about a storyline here. This is real life, real careers hanging in the balance, real people who've been traumatized by a culture that rewarded aggression and punished vulnerability. Sources close to the situation are saying that multiple talent have come forward with stories that range from verbal abuse to outright psychological warfare, pranks that went way too far, hazing rituals that crossed every line imaginable, veterans who saw young talent as threats rather than future stars, and did everything in their power to break them down before they could shine. What makes this even more devastating is how long it's been going on. This isn't new. This isn't something that just started happening yesterday. For decades, there's been a mentality in professional wrestling that you have to earn your spot by surviving the cruelty of those who came before you. Pay your dues, they called it. Toughen up. If you can't handle the locker room, you'll never handle the pressure of the main event. But there's a difference between tough love and torture. There's a difference between teaching respect and destroying someone's confidence, their mental health, their passion for the business. Right now, WWE's legal team is scrambling. Public relations is working overtime, because they know that if even half of what's being alleged comes to light in full detail, the fallout will be catastrophic. We're talking about potential lawsuits, sponsors pulling out, fans demanding accountability. The company has spent years building this image of family-friendly entertainment, of being a global brand that stands for opportunity and excellence. But how can you claim those values when your own locker room has been a battlefield for so many who just wanted a chance to live their dream? And here's what really gets me, what keeps me up at night thinking about this situation. For every name that comes forward, there are dozens who won't. Dozens who left the business broken, who walked away from wrestling not because they weren't talented enough, not because they didn't have what it takes, but because they couldn't survive the psychological warfare happening behind the scenes. Think about all the potential legends we lost. Think about all the incredible matches, all the unforgettable moments that never happened because someone's spirit was crushed before they ever got their shot. The wrestlers who are speaking out now, they're showing incredible courage. Because in an industry where loyalty is everything, where going against the grain can cost you your career, standing up and saying this happened to me takes guts that most people can't even comprehend. These aren't people looking for attention or trying to cash in on a scandal. These are survivors demanding that the next generation doesn't have to go through what they went through. Sources inside WWE are saying that Vince McMahon, even after stepping away from day-to-day operations, is still being brought into these conversations. Triple H, who's running creative now, is reportedly taking this extremely seriously. He knows that if WWE wants to move forward, if they want to be the company they claim to be, this cancer has to be cut out completely. Zero tolerance isn't just a catchphrase anymore. It has to be policy. It has to be enforced. And the people who've been allowed to terrorize others for years need to face real consequences. But here's where it gets complicated, where the story takes a turn that shows just how deep this problem runs. Some of the alleged bullies? They're still on television. They're still main eventing shows. They're still being positioned as heroes, as legends, as people fans should look up to. How do you reconcile that? How do you tell the audience that someone is worthy of their cheers and their money when behind the curtain they've been making people's lives hell? WWE is facing an impossible situation where doing the right thing might mean completely reshaping their roster, their storylines, their entire future direction. The locker room right now is divided. You've got the old guard, people who believe that what happened to them when they were coming up is just part of the business, just how things work. Then you've got the new generation, people who look at that mentality and see it for what it really is, abuse disguised as tradition. The tension is palpable. Every interaction is being watched. Every joke is being analyzed. Because nobody knows who might be next to speak up or who might be next to be exposed. Listen, I know this is heavy. I know this isn't the kind of wrestling content that makes you want to jump up and down with excitement. But this is important. This is the reality of the industry we love, and if we don't talk about it, if we don't demand better, nothing changes. So if you're still with me, if this story matters to you, show me by hitting that like button right now. Subscribe to SLAMZONE and become part of a community that refuses to accept the status quo. Drop a comment below telling me your thoughts, because your voice matters in this conversation. Together, we're not just fans. We're the future of how wrestling is going to be held accountable. Now, in the middle of all this chaos, in the middle of WWE trying to figure out how to handle their internal crisis, there's another story developing that's going to blow your mind. Roman Reigns and CM Punk are reportedly in talks for a movie project together. Yeah, you heard that right. The two biggest names in wrestling right now, two guys whose paths have been on a collision course for years, might be sharing screen time outside the ring. This isn't just some random rumor either. Multiple entertainment industry sources are confirming that preliminary discussions have taken place about a film that would star both Reigns and Punk in leading roles. Now, the details are still murky. Nobody's revealing what kind of movie it is, whether it's an action film, a drama, or something completely different. But the fact that these two are even considering working together tells you everything about where WWE and Hollywood's relationship is headed. Roman Reigns has been dominating WWE for over 3 years now as the tribal chief. His reign as undisputed champion was the longest in modern history. He's transcended wrestling and become a legitimate mainstream star. Movie studios see money when they look at Roman Reigns. They see charisma, they see presence, they see someone who can carry a film the same way he carries WrestleMania. CM Punk's return to WWE has been nothing short of miraculous. After leaving the company on the worst possible terms, after years of bitter feelings and public shots taken at WWE and its management, he came back and reminded everyone why he's one of the most captivating performers in wrestling history. His promo skills are unmatched. His ability to connect with an audience, whether they love him or hate him, is rare. Hollywood has always been interested in Punk, and now that he's back in the WWE fold, those doors are opening wider than ever. But here's what makes this potential movie collaboration so fascinating. These two have history. Not personal beef necessarily, but they represent different eras, different philosophies about what wrestling should be. Roman is WWE's hand-picked golden boy, the guy they built everything around. Punk is the rebel, the guy who made his name by going against the machine. Putting them together in a film is genius from a marketing standpoint, but it's also going to create some incredible chemistry if they can pull it off. The timing of this announcement, right in the middle of WWE's Backstage crisis, is interesting too. Some people are speculating that this is WWE and their partners trying to control the narrative, trying to put positive news out there to counterbalance the negative stories about bullying and toxic culture. If that's the strategy, it's a smart one. Nothing distracts from controversy quite like celebrity and Hollywood glamour. WWE's expansion into mainstream entertainment has been accelerating rapidly. We've seen wrestlers like John Cena and Dave Bautista become massive movie stars. We've seen The Rock transcend wrestling completely to become the biggest action star on the planet. Dwayne Johnson's success has opened doors for every WWE performer who dreams of making it in Hollywood. And now with Triple H running creative, with his focus on building stars who have crossover appeal, we're going to see more and more WWE talent getting opportunities in film and television. The question is, can Roman and Punk actually pull this off? Wrestling fans will show up on opening weekend no matter what. But to be a real success, to justify the investment and open up future opportunities, they're going to need to prove they can act, they can carry scenes, they can be more than just wrestlers playing characters. The early buzz is positive though. People close to the project are saying both guys are taking this incredibly seriously, working with acting coaches, doing everything they can to make sure this isn't just a vanity project but a legitimate film. What this movie could do for WWE as a brand is enormous. Every time one of their stars succeeds outside the ring, it elevates the entire company. It brings in new fans who might not watch wrestling but who saw Roman or Punk in a movie and thought they were cool. It creates media attention and buzz that money can't buy. And most importantly, it shows current WWE talent that there's a future beyond wrestling, that the company will support your dreams even when they take you away from the ring. But let's bring this back to what really matters. While WWE is out here making movie deals and trying to expand their empire, they've got serious work to do at home. The bullying scandal isn't going away. The questions about culture and accountability aren't going away. And the wrestling world is watching, waiting to see if WWE will actually do what's right or if they'll just try to sweep this under the rug like so many other controversies before it. Here's the reality that WWE needs to face. The next generation of wrestling fans, the people who are going to keep this business alive for the next 20 to 30 years, they care about this stuff. They care about wrestlers being treated with dignity and respect. They care about companies having real values, not just PR statements. If WWE wants to survive and thrive, if they want to continue growing and breaking into new markets, they have to prove that they're willing to change, willing to hold people accountable no matter how big their name is or how much money they draw. This is where you come in. This is where we, as a community, as fans who love this business, make our voices heard. Hit that like button if you believe wrestlers deserve to work in an environment free from bullying and abuse. Subscribe to SLAMZONE if you want to be part of a channel that isn't afraid to talk about the hard stuff, the uncomfortable truths that other outlets ignore. Share this video with someone who needs to hear this message. Comment below with your thoughts, your experiences, your hopes for the future of wrestling. Because when we come together, when we refuse to be silent, that's when real change becomes possible. We're not just fans. We're the conscience of this industry. The wrestling world stands at a crossroads right now. One path leads to accountability, to justice, to a future where talent is protected and dreams aren't crushed by those who came before. The other path leads to more of the same, more silence, more victims, more lost potential. WWE gets to choose which path they take, but we get to choose whether we support that decision. This is history unfolding right before our eyes. This is the moment that will define whether wrestling evolves or stays trapped in its worst traditions. And years from now, when people look back at this time, at these stories, at these choices, make sure you were on the right side. Make sure you were part of the solution, part of the movement that demanded better. because that's what SLAMZONE is all about: truth, passion, and never backing down from what matters. I'll see you in the next one, and until then, keep fighting for what's right.